everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today is going to be a super fun video because I am going to be taking you through how I am memory keeping for a 4-day trip that I took last weekend. So I've been wanting to do some more process style videos rather than just, set up and before the pen videos, because I really want to help explain to you guys the process that I go through when I want to journal or plan in my hobonichi cousin, and I thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to kick those videos off and show you guys, because I took a trip to the northern New Jersey, New York City area last weekend to visit one of my friends from college, and I definitely wanted to keep those memories here in my daily journal. So that means I have 4 blank daily pages to fill out with you guys and sort of take you through that process. So before I talk about the trip in general and what I am doing on the pages, I have a few announcements that I want to share with you guys. Announcements might be overselling it a little bit. Maybe I should just call them updates instead. But the first one I wanted to share is something that I have been asked a ton about in the comment section of my videos, and that is whether I have a planner and journaling Instagram. So Instagram and I have a sort of tumultuous relationship. So basically up until this point, I have consumed all of my planning content on Instagram through my personal Instagram. I just follow the creators that I like, and my explore page has a bunch of planner related content, but I don't actually post anything. I just sort of lurk, I guess. I mean, I like photos, but when it comes to like posting my own planner related content, I just have never done it before. And that is because I am not at all confident in my photo taking and photography abilities. Photography is not my passion. I'm bad at it, basically. And that has always sort of deterred me from making a planner Instagram. I feel like I am not very good at those like artistic flat lay style photographs. So I just used my personal Instagram and didn't post anything. But ever since starting this YouTube channel, I have been wanting to get on Instagram and start a planner Instagram account. So much that I even saved the username. Like when I created my username on YouTube, I went and like snatched up the account username on Instagram in case I ever did want to create a planner Instagram. Not that I think anybody would take that username. It's honestly kind of a weird one. Like it made sense to me when I created it, like visually looking at it, but then I realized it really doesn't roll off the tongue. I actually have no idea how to say my YouTube name out loud. But that is beside the point. The point I'm trying to make is that I do have a planner Instagram now. I have not fully set it up, but I will link it down below because I do intend on, going full force into the Instagram world in terms of posting. So it's the same username as my YouTube. I will put it up on the screen and link it down below. If you want to give me a follow, I'd really appreciate it. And if you have accounts that you would like me to follow that maybe I am not familiar with, leave them down below and I will definitely check them out. So that's the first announcement. The second thing I wanted to say is that I am now a Washi Tape shop affiliate, which is so exciting to me. I never even imagined when I started this channel that I would have the opportunity to work with brands within the planning community, and that is super, super awesome. They reached out to me and wanted to see if I wanted to collaborate on some content, and then also provided me with a code and an affiliate link that I will always leave down below in case you ever want to shop at the Washi Tape shop. So my code is NICPLANS. I will put it up on the screen and of course down below. And I will have some Washi Tape shop content coming up soon. Just the package that I am getting in the mail just hasn't arrived yet. So when that does, you will see that on this channel, and I will share with you all the fun stuff that they sent over and how I plan on using it. So that's all the announcements out of the way. So let's see where we are in the spreads. So going into these spreads, I really didn't have a plan exactly for what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to use the 2 washi tapes, so the clouds with the black background and the checkerboard grid, and the rest of a sheet of Pipstick stickers that had a bunch of like city buildings because we were obviously in the city. But other than that, I just kind of turned the camera on and started working. I had some YouTube going on in the background, and by the end of the process, I had over an hour's worth of footage. This footage is sped up 4 times, and so you can do the math from there based on how long the video is. So journaling tends to take me a long time, especially when I am unsure of what I wanted to do. But I do think that it turned out great in the end and was worth the time. I don't spend this much time on every spread. This was just a very special weekend for me, so I wanted to really put in the effort and the time, and I wasn't at all concerned about how long it would take me. So on the 20th, this was the beginning of my trip. I know we're already done with the spread at this point in the video, but I will quickly go over what I did. So I did save one of my paper boarding passes to put in here. I had a connection, so this was just the first one, but I think in terms of ephemera, it did the job. So I went ahead and pasted that in, and then I used my stamp set to stamp out the airports that I was in. So this is not the stamp set that I typically use. This is a new one to me, and it is just a sans serif font. And if you watched my hobonichi flip through, that was my last video, which I will link below, you'll have seen me use a serif style lettering stamp set multiple times throughout the month, and I love that stamp set. But since I was using this sort of larger marquee style stamp set for the font that was sans serif, I wanted to use a sans serif sort of subtitle stamp as well, just because I thought it fit a lot better with the vibe. So I used this set I got at Michael's. I will link it down below, but I just think that it was a really nice compliment in a way that a serif font maybe wouldn't have been. I wanted to leave a lot of space to write, and I don't end up writing in this video because at the end I was really tired, and a lot of the writing is going to be somewhat personal, so I wanted to do that separately. But who knows, I might try and film a reel for Instagram or something now that I am an Instagram girly. But you'll have seen that I taped in a couple pictures of some food that we ate that day, and then also put some of the washi tape around. Unfortunately, the washi tape is no longer available. It was from Archer and Olive, but they no longer sell it, which is so sad because that cloud washi tape is one of my favorites of all time, and I'm going to be so sad when it's gone because I use it constantly. It's one of those washi tapes that I try to force into spreads that maybe they don't really work in, but I'm really, really glad that it fit the vibe of what I was going for perfectly with the Pipsticks building stickers. You'll also have seen me make a little square out of the checkerboard washi, and that is because I was trying to create a little chessboard. So basically what had happened that night was that we sort of combined our niche interests, if you will. So he's really into chess and he follows chess, and there was a big chess tournament going on at the time, and I'm very into tennis and the Australian Open. So we sort of had a night where he taught me about chess and he taught me about the tournament and talked about that, and then I told him about tennis and what was going on in the Australian Open at the time, and we watched a little bit of that. So it was really fun, and it's just one of my favorite things about our friendship because we're just very open to learning about each other's interests, and I just thought it was so much fun. So I wanted to keep that in there, and then I ended up moving it down to the bottom corner because I wanted to put a little sticker to mark that we played NHL 22 on his Xbox, and it was my first time ever playing that game, and it was very overwhelming because I'm not super familiar with the Xbox, and a lot of the controls were different and were in different spots, and it was very confusing, but I got the hang of it and it was super fun. So I wanted to mark that we played that. And then on the 21st, this was when we took the train into New York City, and this was my first time, one, taking a train, and two, going to New York City. So this was super fun for me. I ended up taking a decent amount of pictures. I am just personally really, really bad about taking pictures, and I think this contributes to why I'm bad at Instagram too. But when I go out in public, basically my number one goal is to draw as little attention to myself as possible, and the act of taking a picture or asking someone to take a picture of me is in direct conflict with that. So I don't usually get as many pictures as I would like, but one of my goals in 2023 was to change that, and I think I did a decent job. Anything that's covered up with a blue post-it note is just for privacy reasons. I am happy with the photos that I got, and I definitely wanted to include them. So I ended up printing them off at Walgreens. I could have done it on my Canon Ivy, but the print quality isn't as good. It was going to take a couple of sheets, and that can get pretty expensive on the Canon Ivy. So I just printed them at Walgreens. It ended up being 25 cents to get all these pictures printed because I did a collage, and I think that the print quality is great, and I'm really happy with that decision. So you'll see me arranging these pictures and then stamping out some titles. So I was trying to go for if you're at all familiar with the New York subway, circles that tell you the routes and stuff, that's what I was kind of going for here with the titles. So we ended up going to the World Trade Center, Times Square, and Battery Park City. And it was so much fun. And you'll see that I have like a picture of the Paramount building in Times Square, because me and my friend are like the ultimate Paramount Plus stands when it comes to streaming services. It's like our favorite one, and like we're the only two people that we know that love that streaming service so much. So we ended up taking a selfie outside of the Paramount building, and then the train from New Jersey to New York ended at the World Trade Center, so we went and saw the monument, and it's honestly so breathtaking and beautiful. It's one of my favorite monuments that I've seen. It reminds me a lot of the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C., which is another one of my favorite. It's just so clean and simple and like peaceful, and I loved it. So I included a picture there, and I plan on writing about how I felt there. And then we ended up eating at a little French place in Battery Park City, which was so delicious, and I put the receipt from that in as well. Oh, and I did want to mention that you'll see me use this pink ink pad that I took from my mom, because my mom is like an OG scrapbooker, so I asked to borrow it from her. And a lot of you guys in my last video asked about stamp ink that doesn't bleed. I don't recommend this one. This one bleeds. It didn't bleed as much as it has before because I was a little bit more careful with it, but I did want the pink color, so I ended up using it anyway. But like I said, I wouldn't recommend it. I will try to link the black ink that I use because I really do like that one, but last time I tried, I couldn't find it. So moving on to the 22nd, this was kind of what the whole trip was planned around in terms of dates, because the Penguins were playing in New Jersey that day, and he lives very close to the Devils Arena. This was definitely more of a chill day compared to the days before that were really busy and involved a lot of walking. But on this day, really the only event that we had was the hockey game. And then we ended up just like going to the store and like cooking and chatting and all of that, which was super fun. So I printed out the game summary online and put that in here just to remember sort of what happened during the game. And then I also printed out some pictures and included those as well. It was also Lunar New Year and I am half Chinese, so we also did a little bit of like a Lunar New Year celebration, and it was really cool because the Devils also did like a Lunar New Year celebration during intermission, which was super fun, and I wish I would have taken a picture of it, but unfortunately I did not. But I wanted to mark that it was Lunar New Year, so I included these lanterns from the Coffee Monsters Co. just as a little bit of a decorative touch. And then left a lot of room to sort of write about the game and everything else that we did that day. They did end up losing the game, which was unfortunate, but they came really close and held their own in a way that I didn't necessarily think that they were going to show up and do. So all in all, I am decently happy with how the game turned out. And they did even almost win in overtime, but the goal got called back because of like a too many men penalty, which was kind of sus because I didn't see it, and then they didn't play a replay. And who knows, it might have been and probably was like a legitimate penalty, but are you really an American sports fan if you do not blame the refs for your team losing? But overall, it was a really fun game and a really fun day in general. So the 23rd was my last day, and technically I flew out on the 24th, but it was once again at like 6 a.m. So I didn't feel like it justified being included in this. So the 23rd is what I'm considering the last day of this memory keeping journaling process. So this day we went down to Atlantic City and, went to some casinos around there. And I didn't actually have any pictures from this day, but I did have a lot of ephemera that I wanted to cut out and put in here. So I really wanted to include a receipt from a bagel place that we went to in the morning that was so good and had one of the best bagels I had ever had in my entire life. I had some cash out tickets from some of the casinos because I did end up losing a fair amount of money. My friend ended up losing too, but not quite as much, which glad for him. But I decided to keep the cash out tickets that just had like a couple cents on them and include them in here as sort of a memory of the casinos that we went to. And that the place that we went to eat had like these paper like menus slash placemats, so I ended up taking that with me, and I just cut out the title and put that in here as well. I really like what I ended up doing with the cash out tickets and making it sort of like an interactive element, because it also didn't take up as much space because I already had a lot to put on this page. And you'll see that I taped down the receipt, but I ended up pulling that up and sort of making it another flip thing just so that I had a little bit more space to write, because the title ended up taking up far more room than I intended. If I had one regret about the way that these spreads turned out, is that I wish I would have used the smaller stamps for the word city instead of the larger ones, just because I wish I had saved a little bit of extra room for me to write. But all in all, I really like the way that this page and all the pages turned out. I think they look really cohesive, and I think that they'll look even better when I fill them all out with all of like my written journaling and memories in there. So that was my process for memory keeping this trip. I hope that this was at all helpful or inspiring to you. If you were at all curious about how I put spreads together. If you have any questions about these spreads, why I did something, why I put something someplace, or about any of the particular products, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, along with any other questions you may have, and I will do my best to answer them. If you enjoyed this video and want to give this video a thumbs up or subscribe, I would be very grateful for that and happy to have you here. And with that, I will sign off, and thank you guys so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.